Good morning. Welcome to Weird and Woo Woo, where I'm weird and we all get a little woo woo. We're going to be pulling cards today, see if there's any messages. If you want to stick around, awesome. If not, have a fabulous day. Friendly reminder, you are a sovereign being of your life. You get to determine if, how, when, where, why any of these messages might apply. My recommendation is never to Cinderella shit to make it fit. Awesome. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm being pulled to the Night Sun Tarot. It is raining today. We have the Two of Pentacles, Three of Wands. This is definitely trying to come out. I want to take a look at it. It's a tower. That's going to go in the center. On the other side, we have the Justice card. Page of Swords came out in reverse. We're going to note that. I don't usually do reversals. I'm not necessarily being told to keep it that way, but it seems relevant the way that it landed, so I'm just going to call it out. I will say the Page of Swords. The reason it came out in reverse is because something hasn't been, either information hasn't come through or something has not been communicated. Because in the grass, see that little white thing? That is an egg. That is the new beginning. It is the same egg that appears on the Justice card on one side of the scale. It feels as though something new hinges on some level of communication. That has yet to happen. Okay. Two of Pentacles with the Three of Wands. It feels as if something isn't coming in or isn't happening, isn't coming your direction, your way. Because the Three of Swords, not the Three of Swords, the Three of Wands is the idea that you've already taken action towards something and you're waiting to see how it's received. You're waiting for the feedback. That's the idea of the ships coming in. It's like you've taken action in the Two of Wands towards something that a passion, an idea, a creation, a project, a desire, and you're waiting to see you. So in essence, when you take action, you're sending out the message, telling in co-creation, telling the universe, this is what I want. You're waiting to see how it's received and how it comes back to you. Frequently it's seen as like the ships coming in card, kind of like as a result of you doing something. So it is reciprocated. It's a reciprocal card. But the Two of Pentacles is the idea of either one, taking the next step on a path, right? Or choosing a completely different path, stepping onto a completely different path in life. And in the center of it, what seemed to be looming wouldn't fully come out, wasn't fully seen, is the Tower. Talk to me. Where are we starting? This Justice card with the Page of Swords, it's almost like some kind of balance or new beginning or justice or I don't necessarily want to say justice per se, but I want to say something hasn't made its way to you yet. I'm going to read like I'm reading for you, like you're the one receiving this. Um, justice does have a level of fairness, wrongs being made right, something being put right. Um, I am like I usually would reserve it for judgment, but it's like justice almost feels as if it's like a where in the judgment card there is like a call up, um, and it's the idea that you answer the call, that you make the decision, or that justice feels a little bit. They're showing me a judge making a decision, like they're showing me the gavel, and so it's kind of like some level of a decision or something being corrected. I want to say corrected. Something being corrected is at the epitome of this new beginning, but you haven't received word on it yet. You have not been made aware of that something has been corrected. That's what we're going with. We have the strength card and the high priestess. Like you're having to have faith. Again, high priestess has the egg in her hand, in the palm of her hand, and the book is open. So it's almost as if you know that justice will be served. You know that something's going to be corrected, but you have yet to receive word on that. And it's really requiring you to maintain faith and like a consistent, like a conviction that it will happen. Okay. Three of Swords. You've yet to hear with the Ten of Pentacles. Um, this may be an ending of it may be something that impacts a family to a certain degree. Um, or an ending to like a long-term circumstance, situation, goal. I'm also getting family. There might be family issues or family turmoil with this. It wouldn't be turmoil for you, is what it feels like. Seven of Cups. Yeah, we're just not really sure where things stand, what's happening. It's like knowing how something is supposed to unfold, understanding, having faith, patience, and strength until this comes to light. But something has not been decided, corrected, balanced out yet. So you're just waiting for word. What is it specifically that's being corrected, please? Azathoth Tarot. What is being corrected? What is being corrected? I heard in my mind, I heard audibly a poor decision. So you may have made a decision in the past that was incorrect, and so that's being corrected. We shall see. We have the Hierophant with the Lovers. Ugh. God, this is like choosing the wrong person in your. Oh no, guy, you chose the wrong person. Hey, you're like Hierophant and Lovers, that's definitely a marriage. What is being corrected? The wrong decision, the wrong choice. Someone made the wrong choice. Someone made the wrong choice. Then we have the Seven of Wands, which is standing firm in one's desires, wants, truth, boundaries. It is living life on one's own accord, standing in their power, self-respect, self-reliance, confidence, self-love. Seven of Wands is the epitome of knowing your truth, loving the self, and living from that. So it's the idea of choosing right for you and not what's right for others. Eight of Wands. It's Eight of Wands with the Strength card. Eight of Wands can be the communication, but it feels like rapid movement. Rapid movement. Something happening very quickly. It feels like this correction is happening because somebody chose wrong and it's like necessary for them. Talk to me about the Two of Pentacles and the Three of Wands. Seven of Wands, when you're talking about the self, is not it's not a selfish stance. It is not a self-centered, self-serving. It is loving the self enough to live life authentically and in integrity with the self. So whatever they chose before was not in integrity with them, with who they are as a person, or what they truly wanted and desired. Okay, what is this Two of Pentacles? So they're waiting to step onto a different path. That's what it is with the Two of Pentacles. It's like either taking the next step or completely, this is moving to a completely different path. King of Pentacles, Two of Wands. King of Pentacles is known for creating the life that he wants and desires, that everything that he is, or that the King of Pentacles is reflected in the life that he's created for himself. It shows in his external environment. It's just not having the capacity, like the Queen of Pentacles. It is bringing that into fruition. So there's an active, someone is actively creating the life that they want that reflects who they are. And so they're waiting to make the move. That's the move towards what they desire and want. That requires a path change. Remember I told you, because we've got the Three of Wands over here. What is the action towards their desire that they have? Because, the Two of Wands is choosing what action best, what they can do to best get them to their desire. What's the best way to move in regards to my desire, my want? And it's changing a path, Two of Pentacles. It is completely getting off of one and getting onto the other. What is the communication that they're waiting on? What is this Page of Swords that is yet to come through? Right. We did talk about a judge for the justice. I saw a gavel. They're probably waiting to hear back from court, from like a finalization on something. They're waiting to hear back about the final. So they haven't gotten word yet that something is finalized. that it's been signed off, that it is finally corrected. Like you can't consider it like things corrected until something's dissolved. But they very much know they're doing this because they very much know, and they see with the high priestess where they need to go. The book is open. They understand things they must not have before or questioned before, because again, they chose wrong. Something got in the way of them being like something got in the way of them being trusting their intuition and what they saw. So this feels as if it's like they may have known this was not that it was a wrong decision, but that it wasn't the one most aligned with them. They could feel something off, but they still went forward with it, which means they chose a person, they married a person, or got into a very long-term, because we had the Ten of Pentacles, long-term, tried to build a family with somebody, and they knew before getting into this level of a commitment that something was off. It wasn't completely in alignment with them. It didn't reflect exactly who they are. I get the feeling like it did to a certain degree, like aesthetically, like on the surface, but it didn't align with their truest desires for themselves, what they really wanted and desired. They compromised on some things. They knew ahead of time. They could tell ahead of time. And so this feels like they're correcting a bad decision. Okay, but okay. Two of Pentacles again. It's a should I stay or should I go now? Like that's what the song they're playing right now. And it's kind of like, I feel like when they made the decision to get into a relationship or into a marriage, they had a moment. They had a moment. Or moments where they really thought about not. Because I want to say intellectually, they convinced themselves this was the right move. I want to say somewhere on a soul level, they felt like it was not. But they went with some kind of intellectual. Look, even on this Two of Pentacles, I just noticed this at the top, it says change. I know it's kind of hard. These letters. Change. Change. So they're changing paths. They're making this change, but they're waiting for a word. Okay. Sorry. What I find odd is I feel energy coming off of this Seven of Cups. Like they're separating. They're pulling apart a family. It's funny because I feel like there are other individuals that want this to work more than the person that is trying to leave. Confirmation! Did you hear my phone over there? So there are other people that want this to work out more than the people that are actually involved in this relationship or marriage. They keep saying dissolution. So to me, that's saying dissolution of marriage is what it's called in the United States. That's where the legal form of marriage is dissolved. And somebody's just waiting on like either final paperwork or the final say on something. Why are we bringing this up? Mm-hmm. Hermetic Tarot. I didn't mean to do that. We have the Four of Pentacles and the Three of Wands. Again. So we had the Two of Pentacles with the Three of Wands over here. And the last card that I had over here was the Two of Pentacles. And then the Three of Wands. To me, it's saying, and remind you, like, the action that they have to take is completely switching paths. So they can't step on to the new path until the old one is completely shut down. There's no switching paths until they receive that documentation, that sign off, the communication. Three of Wands, remember, is that reciprocal energy. You put something out and you see how it is received. It's that co-creation. You take a step towards spirit, spirit takes a step towards you, kind of thing. Like it's again, frequently, because you are of this existence and spirit is not. The action comes from you, and then it's like this back and forth between you and spirit, right? But you have to act first. Sometimes it's something very overt, sometimes it's not. But this is something very, the action that was necessary was the dissolution of something. Four of Pentacles. Should I stay or should I go now? That's the, do I or do I not invest? It is the Four of Pentacles is the sitting on solid ground, having an assessment of the past, understanding the present, and thinking about the future. Okay? If you Rider Waite, you've got the pentacles under the feet. That's the past. The pentacle in the lap is the present moment. And the pentacle over her crown is the future. So the Four of Pentacles is, once this is taken care of, this person is in a more powerful position to receive. They can actually contemplate and determine where to put their energy. They can actually focus on the future. But right now, they're really stuck in the moment, is what I want to say. But as soon as this comes in, it just feels as soon as they get this communication, spirit can start acting on whatever this desire, this new path is. But something had to be taken care of on their end first. I saw a Ten of Wands at the bottom of the deck. That kind of tells me it's been a bit of a laborious process for them. It turned into a burden. And we do over here have the Eight of Wands. So it's kind of like, once this, it's wanting to move really quickly, wanting things to change fast, wanting to make choices and decisions for themselves. They're having to remain patient at this time. The world, the universe. It's like, once everything is wrapped up, the world is your oyster. The options are plentiful and bountiful. The doors are many and varied. But this has to come to a completion first. One cycle ends so another can begin. One cycle ends so another can begin. That's the Death card. Okay. What is this pertinent to for the individual watching this? Why is this pertinent to know? Looky. So we had the Justice before, but now we have the Judgment. Remember, I said the Judgment's a little bit more on your end. this is like when you're being called to something and the choice that you make, the decision that you make. Because with destiny, when you are being called to something, you cannot be forced. You can be led to it. You can be, the trumpet that sounds on the judgment card is much like a siren. It lures you in, but the ultimate decision is yours, right? And that's why we always talk about destiny as something that you have to choose. You're not chosen for it. You choose it. Judgment, Chariot, ooh, Ace of Cups. La 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 la. Ah. Look, this is good energy. Okay, I don't want to hear it. If I get a little happy about it, deal. You can deal. Because once this is up, this person has the freedom of choice themselves to move towards the thing that does call to them, to move in a direction that isn't necessarily as logical, but is aligned with their soul, their purpose, High Priestess, their path, what does feel right. So this time around, they're not going to make a decision based upon what sounds right and looks good in the mind. They're going to make a decision of what aligns with them in their soul. So this gets to wrap up. They get to choose to move towards something that they feel like really being pulled towards, and that things just align. It's like as if everything falls away, all the obstacles are removed. Nothing can slow this down. It will be successful. This was like the last thing that had to be resolved in order for them to. And I think this plays on yesterday's reading where it's like something was taking so long that they were like, and they were okay with it at first. They were like, I'll take my time with this. I want everybody to be happy in this situation. We'll do what's best for everybody. But really what they were doing is what was best for everybody else. Again, they have others very highly invested in whatever this is, and they were making decisions to help keep the peace for them, to help make them happy, to make things easier on them, not for themselves. And that's what's changing. Something happened where they're like, what about me in this situation? Why do I have to make all the concessions and the compromises and constantly think about everybody else when it's not their life, it's my life that we are talking about. And the process is becoming exceptionally burdensome. This is about moving beyond that. And so as soon as they get this signed off of, they're free to make their choice towards what their soul has been pulling them towards. And they are moving with fervor. Can I just say that? Because the Chariot, here's the thing, is not always necessarily a fast moving card. It's really subjective. It's about the energy, momentum, and its capacity. When things are finally aligned, it's rhino spirit. I say it all the time. It is move, bitch, get out the way. Nothing can stop a rhinoceros. I'm telling you right now, if you think that motherfucker is going to walk around you, it'll remove you from its path. Any obstacle. If that fucker starts charging, anything and everything that's in its way better get out of its way. Period. There is no stopping it. It has such force and momentum. And to go from, again, like with Chariot, if the sphinxes, horses, whatever are going in opposite directions, right? You're not going anywhere. You're stuck. You're stagnant. What gives it the appearance of speed is the overnight, which again lines with yesterday's reading. The overnight change happens where once something is aligned, from standstill to movement can seem, especially if somebody's been at a standstill, right? Or in a liminal space for a really long time, it feels quick, sudden, but it's not. The build up to get everything in alignment so that you can finally move forward took time. So it has the appearance of a suddenness, a quickness. But this, more than anything, just it is a statement on it will be victorious. It's like the rhinoceros, nothing will, once it's in alignment, nothing. Once things are all done the way that they're supposed to, nothing can stand in its way. Nothing will stop this. It will be successful. It will happen. So whoever this is, this individual will find where their soul is guiding them. And that's to a very particular love that they've been wanting and desiring. Okay. 5 of Wands, 8 of Swords. It has been a bit of a battle. Again, 5 of Wands is the idea of like multiple different desires, wants, pulling on your energy, trying to satiate and satisfy all of them, and creating a bit of a chaos. They were trying to please too many others, right? And in the process, it created discord, a sense of oppression, burden within their life. 5 of Wands, it created arguments and disdain between people. And we have the 8 of Swords. They realized it was a self-imposed limitation, that it was them agreeing to satiate everybody else's desires over their own that caused them this burdensome sense of existence. And that if they're the ones that, I do think that there was a bit of, I don't want to say fear, but a hesitancy to move forward, because to push for what they wanted, I think that there were too many individuals in this person's life that had their hand in a pot it didn't fucking belong in, that projected as if like somehow whatever choice this person was going to make wasn't going to impact them, but they're not the ones having to live it. Like they benefited from, they felt comfortable with, they were emotionally invested in whatever this relationship or marriage was, and it would change and create a disruption in their life that they didn't want to have to deal with, even though it's not their life to live. Things like this create a ripple effect. You know what I'm saying? But it's almost like whatever this is more of an outside energy for all these others. It's like everybody got really comfortable. Everybody got really like, I can rely on this. I can expect this. Now you're going to disrupt that. It's going to disrupt. Like I'm getting like a parent telling a child like, you're going to tear this family apart if you do that. Blah 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 kind of thing. Like nothing's ever going to be the same for anybody else. And it's like, what? Like if you've built your life where it is dependent on someone else's life and relationship, you have some evaluating to do. You have some self-evaluation. Your wants and desires should not trump somebody else's for their life. You have some codependency issues if you think that other people should cater to your wants and desires so that you can avoid any and all discomfort, especially when it does not directly involve you. But I think that that's what happened. That's where the limit, like they kept logically, again, the same thing that got them into this situation where something seemed perfect on paper, perfect intellectually, seemed like, oh, that's the great choice, but did not align with their soul. I got to write that down. Hold on. They want me to write that down. God dang it. Sorry, guys. when it looks good on paper but doesn't align with the soul. Sometimes they're like that. They'll tell me to. They're like, oh, that's the name of the reading, and then I get to like where I'm uploading it, and I'm like, I don't remember. And I'm not going back through that video to figure out what it was. Like some people are super dedicated to being so really good. I am not. So so the thing that got them into this position was making a choice with their mind over what is right and aligned with their soul. They're doing the same thing. They've come to the conclusion, I'm doing the same fucking thing. Eight of Swords is kind of like thoughts, like you think something you think yourself into a corner. Um, they're like, if I do this, then this could happen, and and this could happen, and well, it's probably better to do it like this, and if I go about it like this, then I could avoid a bunch of this, and they're taking everybody else's desires and wants into consideration, and and before you know it, this process has taken way too fucking long. I actually want to say that this has been something like that they've been aware of maybe for almost 2 years, where it's like there's something about 2023, something that happened in 2023, and then the years subsequent, 24, 25, where they were kind of like the seed had been planted, where they're seeing things and they're having to be honest with themselves, but still played the mental game. And so they may have talked themselves out of initiating the separation, initiating whatever. Um, Again, because things can look really great on paper. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you disrupt that? Why would you blah, blah, blah? Like, like try to think their way into making the situation better. Um, and they even when initiating whatever this separation, still giving more weight to other people because of how things would impact them. Even even when it's minuscule, even when your life is not theirs to live and you're the one that's dealing with the consequences of keeping them comfortable, keeping them happy. And so they came to the conclusion that they were like, I am doing the exact same thing right now in my attempt to leave that I did that got me into this position to begin with. And they realized the power that they had. The burden that they are experiencing is only because of them. The thinking, over analyzing, planning, plotting, strategically trying to do things a very particular way, they did that to try and avoid unnecessary drama, pain, um, difficulties, only to create that much more pain, drama, and difficulty for themselves. And they realized where they went wrong. And so that sped the process up. And now they are like the rhinoceros. They're ready to move forward. They're not going to take the pace that suits everybody else. They're not taking the pace that creates peace for others and burdens for them. And this does feel like a person who, in some capacity, likes to take on things and help and assist and be a support to others. But it's morphed somewhat into a place where they have been taken advantage of. And people expect that in areas, scenarios, and at times when it is wholly um, unnecessary, an overstep of bounds, uh, like taking advantage of. It is now expected that this person does this in every facet, in every role, in every way of life. And when they're And again, they see where they have they've contributed to setting this up. Um, Only they can dismantle it. So people are noticing changes within this individual and how they're operating. Again, feels very sudden because you go from one state to a complete other, out of alignment into alignment, and so it feels like an overnight change, and it's not. This has been brewing for quite some time. So there's an internal change and evolution that's been happening that is now being reflected. We talked about that with the King of Pentacles, creating the life external to them that reflects who they are, making choices and decisions for themselves. So we have the Eight of Pentacles moving forward, choosing the path, taking the steps, and again, just moving forward. And things will change as a result. We got the Wheel of Fortune. A lot changes in the favor of this individual because of this. But it all starts with, unfortunately, choosing the wrong person, choosing the wrong relationship for them, and assuming that it was the right one because it looked good on paper, which turned into appeasing and appealing to so many other people and individuals, and it morphed into something. Da 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 da. Here comes the sun. A new day dawns. That's the Seven of Pentacles. Okay. they're not. This isn't somebody who like forgoes any and all logic or wisdom. Um, they do have a better discernment of how to make choices and decisions for them and their wants and desires. So this isn't somebody who everything is going to go, like they throw logic out the window, or but they have a higher level of discernment as to when and where to apply that. That's wisdom. And this person has gained a lot of wisdom. Very smart now. Always have been smart, but very wizened now. Let's put it that way. Appropriately applied knowledge and discernment is what constitutes wisdom. A magician. They're going to make shit happen. Knight of Swords. They are influencing and making this change. It's a very conscious decision, this pivot point in their life. They are cutting it out and moving in a new direction. When are they going to get word of this? Okay, Spirit might be on there. This person really genuinely loves being a kind and giving soul. We have the Knight of Cups with the Devil. Dare I say, they will not make the mistake of offering their cup to the same place they have before, in the same manner. If you notice, the devil is here, which is the patterns in which they have been operating in, the patterns, the loops, and here they are with the Knight of Cups, moving in the exact opposite direction. I I am not saying that this person is deeming whoever or whatever they're leaving behind as the devil, but it was emblematic of a place where they felt chained but realized they chained themselves. It is emblematic of a behavior, a pattern, a habit, that kept them imprisoned, um, and not expanding the way in which they wanted in life. I'd say materially, they were able to do well or able to, because I mean, the devil is like great with business and it's a very Capricorn energy, obviously. And so, with the tangibles in life, that might, but it, it created a looping pattern of, and like buying into the illusion that if everything logically made sense and looked good on paper, then it should be good for my soul. And they know better. So they're breaking free from that. So whatever they're, who or whatever they're breaking free from, who, is, and a what, because it's a pattern too within themselves that they perpetuated. Um, they're moving in the exact opposite direction. They're taking their cup and they're looking for where they want to pour their love. It is in the exact opposite direction of where they've been. And I think that there was an archetype of an individual that seems to perpetuate in their life, um, because it wasn't just the individual that they got into a relationship with, it was everybody else. Everybody else there was a comfort there of, like, people built aspects of their lives around whatever this connection was, or maybe not even necessarily this connection, but what this connection gave them access to this person. And with this breaking away, do I still have access to you? Do I still have the same influence on you? Do I still benefit from you? Do I still, and so this person is recognizing that breaking away from this individual, how many times this kind of dynamic they played out through other aspects and other connections in their life, and how many people surrounding them perpetuate the same thing. And they're like, oh shit, I've done this a lot with a lot of people. And so, yes, in breaking away from this, a lot of others will fall away, not necessarily because um, like they're choosing sides or something like that, but because in breaking away from this, they're completely breaking away from the pattern of being one of the pillars that lifts up and upholds other people's lives and their sense of comfort. And so with that gone, so too do some of these individuals. They will leave. And it's a big realization, because at first it looked like I'm just doing this with this person and I need to choose for me. But in this process, in choosing themselves, they're realizing, oh, I did it with this group of friends, and I did it with this family member, and I did it with that family member, and I did it with this, this business like, oh shit, I lived this pattern out a lot in my life. They're heading to the Queen of Wands. There is an energy, or a person that embodies who and what that they want in an individual, where they want to pour their love. Um, Let me pull some more on this. It feels like for a period of time they were really confused as to why they wanted to break free from this other energy. Again, they were very stuck in, but it looks really good. Like, I can say all kinds of amazing things. Um, those amazing things aligned with, again, capitalism and things that they could show. I get this sense of outward. That's why the devil with the Capricorn, and like things that are very materialistic. Like, they could make a list of things and it's like, oh, but we've had a home and we've been able to do this, and We can go on trips and we both achieved getting our degrees together, or we both did blah, blah, blah. Like it was like achievements. It was a lot of things that were external. But if you looked at the list of just relational, connection wise, that connection again didn't hold water when you removed all these external things. Look at the life we've built. We've got this friend group. We've got this. But there wasn't something there. If all that got stripped away, it's like they couldn't list the things. It wasn't the two of them together that made it seem so right. Because we got the Seven of Cups with the Hanged Man. Really confused, and now they're seeing something very quite right. And it included, why do I feel like I'm being drawn and pulled away from this situation, away from this, right? Why does this energy, the Queen of Wands, and this could be just a proverbial energy, right? Like this idolized, they want me to take them, it's not idolized. But like this personification of what you want and desire in a connection, in a spiritual, again, you feel you like your soul knows there's somebody there, and this individual very well may, over the course of time, found an object of their affection, not object in that way, but a place where that felt like home, that wasn't at home. I do believe whatever processes we're talking about 2023, this is long before there was a face or an energy or a person to this longing. So that's why I say it was like this archetype, this personification of a person that they knew they could find. Their soul knew what it would feel like, what it wanted, what it desired within a connection, within an emotionally healthy, aligned connection. Um, and they knew it wasn't where they were at. So that started a long time ago, but they may at this point, and that may have felt confusing and confounding. Like, why am I drawn here? Because this one, Queen of Wands, it's not like the Queen of Swords. It's not logically making sense. This is life force energy. This is sacral. This is solar. This is the untangible draw. So this person feels like who or whatever they are drawn to makes absolutely no sense. And so there's been a shift in perspective that there's a time and a place where something needs to logically or realistically make sense. But soul connections do not necessarily logically make sense, because the Seven of Cups is this confounding, I don't get it, I don't understand, I can't succinctly compartmentalize and analyze it in my brain. You know, you just feel it. They feel drawn. Um, and they've had to, like, Hanged Man really look at this differently, where it doesn't have to make sense. Because when we analyze something and choose to look at it on paper, are we look that's does it make sense tangibly to the external world? This does not have to make sense to the external world. It has to align with your soul. So they are going to be moving Knight of Cups. They want to take their cup where their soul is leading them, not where their mind. Lovers. I do feel that this person at least has an inkling of where that is now. In the beginning, they did not. When they were wafting back and forth and all that kind of stuff, when the seed was planted and they began to wake up and realize the what the mistake they had made. And it is a mistake in a sense because they entered into something what feels like and unbeknownst to them under false pretenses, really thinking that this is what they wanted or that they could manage for a lifetime, and coming to the conclusion that they can in fact not. And there is a part of that sense of obligatory mentally, this must sorry, but they've changed their perspective. And I'm not even saying that this was a great relationship, but it made sense on paper. And there were many benefits that came from it. So logically, why would I leave, right? But they realize they cannot wholeheartedly rely on logic. Again, they're not throwing it to the wind. They're not like they still are using their wisdom, but the they got into this because they completely ignored to begin with their soul. And now they realize they can't do that. So it's not that they're just free willy nilly, whatever feel, like whatever they feel drawn to and abandon all wisdom. They're not doing that. It's the idea of like, we all know love is not enough, but this is beyond love. This is a soul calling. And they know now that they cannot ignore that. These are soulmates. These, or whatever divine counter, whatever you want to call it. This is it defies reality. And that's what they're moving towards. Okay. They're waiting. Four cups, not engaging with what is, not content with what is, and waiting for that proverbial cup from the sky. We did have the Ace of Cups previously. I saw that it was the Two of Swords and the Eight of Cups, which Two of Swords is like waiting to make a choice. Eight of Cups is the walking away of something. So they couldn't move forward, couldn't make a decision, couldn't do anything about getting on this other path until they walked away. And Four of Cups is, I think, is just indicating that that this cup will come forward once that is done. I was trying to read it toward like you are the one, like whoever is listening you might be the person in this, or you might be this may be pertinent for a future event. Anything else? Oh, it's always a fucking hour. I swear. Ace of Pentacles. They are stepping on that new path. Are we done? Knight of Pentacles. If you are not the person in this and you're still watching this, this is the idea that you are the new path, and that they come in and offer something exceptionally sincere. that they are trustworthy, loyal. It's you can trust it. You can trust this. Six of Wands with the star. I just feel like this is spirit going, and we have successfully guided this together. The individual following their soul through the type of love that they want will be successful. It's like wish granted. But I think spirit's taking this as like they taking credit, like they're like, and we successfully brought this together. All right, we're gonna leave it there. I hope everybody has a fantastic, wonderful day. I hope this finds whoever it's meant for, and I will see you guys at the next reading.